Hi friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing my Boookathon Readathon reading vlog with you. I have 3 books that I'm hoping to read this week, and I want to go ahead and tell you a little bit what my reading plans are, and then I'm going to take you through the time that it takes me to read these. The first book that I want to read is Spirit Hunters by Ellen O. Keisha sent me this for my birthday. She read it in the fall during Boookathon, and she said it is the most terrifying book that she has ever read. So I'm very excited to read this one. The next book I will pick up is the Clackity by Lora Senf. This is one that Keisha is telling me that I have to read. From somewhere deep in the shadows, a hand reaches out. My brain told me the hand was too far away from the face to belong to the same creature, but it had to, because this thing smiled wider still and gave me a little wave. It had too many joints in its long fingers, and they made a click, click, click when they bent. And the third and final book that I want to read this week is Dark Waters by Katherine Arden. This is the 3rd book in the Small Spaces Quartet. I read the first one. I think I read the first one during Boookathon, and then I just read the second one like on my own sometime during the winter. I can't really tell you too much what this is about because it would spoil like maybe the first couple of books in the series, but we're following Ollie, Coco, and Brian. Let's see, a day trip with their parents has them setting sail on Lake Champlain. To talk about Spirit Hunters by Ellen O. I read this last night on kickoff sprints on Kendal's channel at Bookphoria. I started it on the sprints. I finished it maybe 15-20 minutes after the sprints. So I read it in one sitting, and y'all, this book is so creepy. It's about this family that moves into this house, and it's supposedly haunted, but the main character, Harper, realizes that her younger brother, Michael, is not acting like himself. And I think you see it in this. Yeah, there's like, if you look at the cover, like at the window area, she like thinks that he's being possessed by a ghost that's haunting the house. He starts acting really weird. She hears him talking to someone, and at first she thinks it could be an imaginary friend, but then accident starts happening. And this isn't a demonic possession like spooky, eerie vibes. Like, this is a demonic possession. People are getting injured, like hurt, pushed downstairs, cut so bad they need to go to the emergency room, animals being injured and having to get casts, dead rats showing up at places. Like, it is scary, like genuinely like scary. I will say that about 3/4 is like the scary stuff, and then the last quarter is Harper realizing like, okay, I have to do something about this situation. And she goes to this place, and then something else happens after that, and it's kind of like, it's not a twist, but it's a reveal, and it's such a fun reveal. So I really did like that part. But y'all, this book for a middle grade book, terrifying. This was way scarier than How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. This one just, I didn't know what was going to happen next. I've never read a possession story like this before. It was genuinely creepy, and I would never give this to a middle grade like child, like a young child. Never, never, never. update time. Last night I did start and finish The Clackity by Lora Senf, and overall I enjoyed this story. Not as much as Spirit Hunters, not as much as some other spooky middle grade I read during the last round of Boookathon. I read some really good ones last time. I read The Mystery of Black Hollow Lane by Julie Noble. I loved it so much that I bought the sequel and I've already read it. Small Spaces, and loved that so much that I got Dead Voices, and then also The Haunting of Evelyn Jones. Loved that so much that I also read The Bewitching of Evelyn Jones, which means I need to buy the third book. I also read Midnight at Barclay Hotel. That is like a murder mystery that I think adults would enjoy. City of Ghosts, which I also need to continue on in that series, but my Barnes & Noble didn't have the second and third books in good condition. I also read Coraline. So I read some bangers in the last round, and I would say this kind of falls somewhere in the middle. Initially, upon finishing it, I was thinking 4 stars, but the more time I've had to sit with it, I think it's more of a 3 stars to me. This one is about our main character, Evie Von Wraith, and she lives in Blight Harbor with her Aunt Des, and she lives with her Aunt Des because when she was younger, her house burned down and her parents were presumed dead, so she went to go live with her Aunt Des. And she's very attached and she's tired of losing people. So like every time she tells her Aunt Des goodbye, she's like, I love you so much. You know, you're going to be here when I get back, and all of those sorts of things. Well, one day her Aunt Des goes missing because she's working on this like case or something. And the Clackity, which is basically like this monster, says that I'll make a deal with you, a very good deal. If you go do this quest, she has to visit these 7 houses and brings back this serial killer named, what was his name again? John Jeffrey Pope. All I remember is Pope. So John Jeffrey Pope is a serial killer. He's like, if you bring the piggy man to me, then I will give you your aunt back. And so she sets off on this quest and she's visiting all of the houses, and that's where I think the strength of the story lies, is with the creativity of each house that she has to visit, and she has to find like a key or something to get into every house. So it's kind of like mini quests as well, and the houses are so unique. I really liked the second house. Not gonna say why or anything, but I really liked the second house the best, but all of them were creepy in different ways. And I also appreciated just the arc of the main character and the underlying themes and messages. But I don't know if it was I was super tired reading the ending or what. I do like how the main character at the end, she really like made a stand for herself, but the ending is a little bit fuzzy to me because it kind of like went on and on. So the ending a little bit drug out, but like overall a good story, and I would definitely recommend. I might even go back and like reread the last couple of chapters. But yeah, so I'm gonna give this one 3 stars, and I do think I would continue on in the series. I started Dark Waters and I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm on page 89, and I think it's so funny that I'm reading it right now because this book actually takes place, I believe, on May 2nd. And they're going on this like boat tour to go see this Loch Ness monster. things go down. But one of the things is that Ollie's dad packs sandwiches for the boat trip. And one of the sandwiches that he makes is egg salad sandwich. And I love egg salad sandwiches. So I made myself a piece of toast with some egg salad because I was like immediately craving egg salad. And I made enough for my husband to have some boiled eggs and hard boiled eggs, and for me to have another toast. But so good. Hi friends, I'm here to wrap up my final thoughts on Dark Waters by Katherine Arden. Keisha was right. This book wasn't as good as the first and second books. I think a lot of things contributed to that. I have the hiccups. I don't feel like I got to know the characters anymore. There was also another mainish character introduced, and it does reflect on the first and second books, so you definitely need to read the series in order. This one wasn't as scary. I don't think as much happened. It definitely fell into middle book syndrome, in my opinion. It wasn't even on the water a lot, which is what I was going into it for. I thought it would be really fun to have like a sailboat trip or like a camp when they're in the water a lot or something like that. That was not the case. They end up being on this island, which, yes, an island is surrounded by water, but it wasn't even like the water was a big part of the story itself. So that was a little disappointing. I also don't like how it left on a cliffhanger. None of the other books really left on a cliffhanger. Her endings do feel a little bit rushed, a little bit wrapped up too quickly, but I guess like you do know everything. It's not like you don't, but in this one there is a cliffhanger, so that's different from the first and second books. And I also don't think that it was more about Coco and Brian and the new character introduced, Phil, who is from the first book, and you get to know a little bit more about that. So it just kind of felt like it didn't have a as strong of a plot. Yeah, I don't know, like it just wasn't my fave. So I'm giving the story 3 out of 5 stars because I did still enjoy it. I like these characters. I like Katherine Arden's writing. I've come to know what to expect about the pacing and the plotting of her books and her characters. And I do love these characters. So I'm definitely going to be picking up the 4th book, hopefully this fall when it comes out on paperback. So in the fall, I might be reading it for Boookathon, which the 4th book is Empty Smiles. It's a little deceiving seeing this book, all of this at the end. That's quite a bit of pages, is actually previews from all of the different books. So it's only 198 pages, but that concludes my participation in Boookathon. I didn't do the full week just because I have other books I need to get to, but I did want to participate because I have fallen in love with Spooky Middle Grade and I wanted to support Keisha, Hope, and Kendal during the readathon. So that's it for today. Let me know if you participated and what your favorite read of the readathon was. Don't forget to check the description box for links to the hosts' channels and Instagrams. I will see everybody in another video very soon. Bye friends.